Alright, I'm going to play Heavy Storm.
I'm going to chain MST.
I'm going to chain an MST. Draw this
I
card here.
this one.
Huh?
Maybe this.
Alright.
I book a moon.
I
Is
uh,
Spirit Reaver.
uh,
Sorry.
Book a Moon, your Shape
I
Stardust.
compulse your Archfiend.
Well, I compulse your Stardust.
I judgment your compulse.
I judgment your judgment.
And what in turn happens is basically nothing. We both pay 4,000 life points and our monsters are both gone.
Pretty much.
That's basically the turn of what happens here.
That's kind of the worst end result of what will happen during chain, but
That's the furthest you can get on a chain, basically.
and it's kind of over exaggerated and ridiculous. But essentially, this goes to show how chaining is going to work in Yu-Gi-Oh. So, unlike other card games, like I know for example, Magic has the stack, and they don't have any spell speeds. But in this case, different spells and different abilities have different speeds. So, for example, if you're activating basic abilities like Dark Hold, that's going to have spell speed 1. And um, in turn, you give your opponent a priority. What that means, you give them a chance to activate something themselves. So, for example, they can play
MST,
an MST,
which is spell speed 2 because it's quick play, which is up in the corner there.
Right. Yep. Although that won't. Sometimes the common chain would be to actually negate an ability, but like if I'm playing Heavy Storm and he has an MST face down, I mean, might as well play it rather than have it go to waste. Essentially, how the chain works, whenever the first card to go, say in our example here was Heavy Storm, and that's the first one I played, spell speed 1. In turn, he played his MST, which is spell speed 2. Once that happens, once you increase one speed, it has to stay at that speed or go higher. There are currently 3 spell speeds in Yu-Gi-Oh! 1, 2, and 3. Now, your monster abilities are going to actually end up being, most of them are going to end up being spell speed 1 because they're activated only during your main phase. Although there is an occasion when reaction-based abilities such as Utopia's detaching to negate an attack would end up being spell speed 2. And when you're activating your chain by chain by chain by chain, once the last person has played their card, the chain resolves from the last card played. So from the end to the first. So the first card to be played is actually the last one. So in the case of our huge chain, my judgment would negate his judgment, and then from there, our books or compulses would go off, and then our Book of Moons would go off.
Everything would end up off the field in that scenario, and we both pay 4,000 life points. The
And then-
odds of something like this happening are not good.
Yeah, and at the end of the chain, I mean, Heavy Storm is actually useless because there are no more cards on the
MST
field.
destroying an MST is completely pointless.
Yes. And I mean, oftentimes oftentimes you can pull off some crazy stuff, and there's a lot of confusion surrounding chains because of this. And
I don't know how many times I've judgmented a judgment.
Sometimes it's necessary.
Like sometimes you just need to do it.
Speaking of judgment and so the other trap cards are some of the only spell speed 3s. Spell speed 3 is limited to one card type, and that's counter trap cards. You'll notice an arrow
that kind of looks
roundish on a trap card, and once spell speed 3 is played, usually it's the end of the chain because not many people have a spell speed 3 to counter a spell speed 3.
Basically, the only way you can get around it is by judgmenting a judgment or dark bribe, which isn't. Actually, I don't think dark bribe is a spell speed 3.
Yeah, I think judgment is the end all.
The judgment's basically the card that negates everything. Just wait, it'll be bad, guys.
And that's kind of really all I can give you. That's the basics of chain. I mean, if you have a specific question about how something would work out, you'd have to probably look it online, as there are many confusing cases to how something resolves.
Yeah, there are look-up rulings. If not, get an iPod Touch that has rulings on it, or a phone.
Yeah, it's always nice to have them on because you don't know how many players are going to try to bullshit you out of something like an amazing play because they believe that this and this and this, right? And you always got to be on the know about this stuff. And so just get your references, look online. Don't just decide on the first ruling you see either. You want to look at multiple sources to see, what's going on in the community, what they're agreeing on, and it's kind of also a self discovery thing. The key thing to remember here is that they work from the last card played starting first, and the first is last.
And invest in ghost rare cards.
Yes.
Very necessity in life.
Yes. Just stun your opponent mentally at the awe.
I got a question. This is going to be a fun fact. Anybody know what this card is? Comment if you do. And leave what you think it is. Because you really can't see the picture.
The power of Ghost Rare.
Power of Ghost Rare. No one actually knows what it is, so they have to read something. That's why Konami put Ghost Rares in. For no one knows what the card is, so they have to actually read the name. I see what they did there. Trickers. That's all we really got for chains.
That's chaining, and rates, comment, criticism is always accepted. Subscribe if you like our content.
And if you subscribe, if we get 5 subscribers within next week, he's got to do his zombie deck profile because he doesn't want to for some reason. So definitely subscribe and rate, and give us what kind of I'm hoping to get some unboxing soon. If you want to leave comments on what you want to see unboxed, that would really help me decide on what I want to get because it'd make it a lot easier because I don't want to get something that no one cares about, honestly. So
right.
Just rate, subscribe, leave comments. Thank you.
This is Yu-Gi-Oh! Consultant signing out.
Maybe.